Have you eaten normal bread and felt bloated, heavy, or just off, and then had a slice of real sourdough and felt totally fine? If that's you, it's not in your head. There's an actual science behind it, and here's the catch. Most sourdough you buy at the grocery store is not doing what you think it is. A lot of those loaves are just regular yeast bread with added vinegar or citric acid for flavor. It's not long fermented real sourdough. In this video, I want to show you why true sourdough works differently in our body than non-sourdough bread, and 4 specific things you can do to make your sourdough even more gut friendly, because sourdough should work for your body and your life, not the other way around. Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm a homemaker, a cottage baker, and I've been teaching for more than 20 years. These days, I've been helping home bakers make real sourdough from their home kitchens. I'm not a scientist, but I am a teacher who went down the rabbit hole, did the research, baked the bread, and watched hundreds of people go from confused and frustrated to pulling out a golden loaf out of their own oven for the first time and feeling better eating it. So let's break this down in plain language. I'm going to walk you through 4 approaches that make sourdough more gut friendly. And at the end, I'll show you one simple thing you can start doing with your very next bake. No special ingredients, no fancy tools. Stay for that. So here's the thing most people don't know. Most sourdough at the grocery store is not real sourdough. Real sourdough comes from a long, slow fermentation using a sourdough culture, which is wild yeast and live bacteria. That transforms the dough over time. That process is what changes how the bread behaves in our body. So during fermentation, a few big things happen. 1, phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that blocks mineral absorption, is broken down, which helps your body access minerals like iron, zinc, and magnesium. Certain FODMAPs, the carbs that can trigger bloating and IBS symptoms, are reduced, especially when fermentation is long and slow. And some of the gluten and other proteins are partially broken down, which is why many people who struggle with regular bread can tolerate properly fermented sourdough better. And the glycemic impact of the bread can be lower, so your blood sugar doesn't spike and crash as dramatically as with typical white bread. But here's the important part. Not all sourdough fermentation is equal. How long you ferment, what flours you use, and how it's milled, all of that matters. That's what these 4 approaches are about. So the first approach, long fermentation. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. The single biggest thing you can do to make your sourdough more gut friendly is to give it more time fermenting. Researchers at Monash University, the team behind the low FODMAP diet, found that bread made with traditional sourdough fermentation had much lower FODMAPs, especially fructans, than bread made with fast modern methods, and that many people with IBS tolerated those long fermented sourdough breads much better. So what does long fermentation actually look like at home? You might have heard the term cold ferment. All that means is after you mix your dough, you give it some time at room temperature. Then you put it in the fridge and let it sit overnight at minimum. 24 hours is great. 48 to 72 hours, even better. You're just letting the bacteria and wild yeast keep going while you live your life. The bread that comes out of that is different. Deeper flavor, more developed texture, and for many people, easier on their digestion. Inside the bread and butter way, this is one of the core methods I teach because the fridge slows everything down so your dough fits your schedule, not the other way around. Approach 2, ancient grains. The second approach is to use some ancient grains in your sourdough. Flours like einkorn, emmer, spelt, and kamut. You've probably heard people say ancient grains have less gluten. That's not exactly the full story. Research suggests that these grains often have a similar overall protein or gluten content, but the gluten structure, the balance of the different proteins, is different from modern wheat, which has been bred for yield and strength. In practice, That means that dough and the gluten behave differently in your body. Some studies on einkorn, for example, suggest its gluten is more digestible and that it carries more antioxidants and certain vitamins than many modern wheats. For many people, not everyone, but many, breads made with ancient grains feel gentler on their digestion and may have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects compared to breads made with modern wheat. When you combine ancient grains with long fermentation, you're stacking benefits. A different grain structure plus the breakdown that happens during sourdough fermentation. So if you're curious and want a place to start, einkorn is usually the most accessible ancient grain. You can often find it online or in natural food stores. The third approach is to experiment with heritage grains. People often lump ancient and heritage together, but they're slightly different. Ancient grains are very old species like einkorn. Heritage grains are pre-industrial varieties of wheat like red fife, turkey red, or rouge de Bordeaux. They were grown before modern breeding focused on maximum yield and shelf life. Studies comparing heritage and modern wheat have found that when people eat breads made with heritage varieties, they often see more antioxidant activity and lower markers of inflammation compared to modern wheat, even though both still contain gluten and are not safe for celiac disease. But heritage grains also tend to come with more intact fiber and resist starch, especially when they're milled and processed gently. That kind of starch and fiber is food for your gut bacteria, one of the building blocks of a healthy microbiome. I want to be honest with you, these flours can be harder to find and more expensive, and they do bake a little differently, but you absolutely do not have to start here to make gut-friendly sourdough. But if you already feel comfortable with the basic sourdough process and want to level up your nutrition and gut benefits, heritage grains can be a beautiful next step. So the fourth approach is milling your own flour. And this one can sound a little intense, I know, but hear me out, because the reason people get so excited about fresh milled flour is not because they like gadgets. It's because of what happens to the grain in modern processing versus at home. Commercially, wheat is often milled in a way that removes the bran and germ, the parts that carry most of the fiber, vitamins, and healthy fats, to make flour that's very shelf stable. But with that removal, many nutrients drop dramatically, which is why enrichment laws were created to add some of those vitamins back in. Whole wheat berry, before it's milled, contains a wide range of essential nutrients. And when you mill it fresh at home, you keep the bran, germ, and endosperm together. Fresh matters because once flour is milled, the fats and nutrients in that germ start to oxidize and break down over time. There's also a neat intersection between fresh milled flour and sourdough because fresh flour has active enzymes. And during fermentation, those enzymes plus the sourdough culture can work together to break down phytic acid even more, which can improve mineral absorption. Now, do you need a grain mill to make gut-friendly sourdough? Absolutely not. Long fermentation alone is already a huge step, but fresh milling is one of those deep end tools that can give you more control over your flour and make truly whole grain sourdough feel better in your body. All right, let's come back to the promise I made at the beginning. One thing you can do right now with the flour you already have with no special equipment is the next time you mix your sourdough dough, do this. Let it rise at room temperature until it starts to look puffy and active, and then put it in the fridge. Leave it there at least overnight. That's it. You've just stepped into a long fermentation. You've already done the most impactful thing on this list for making your sourdough more gut friendly. Everything else we talked about, ancient grains, heritage varieties, fresh milled flour, those are optional layers. Beautiful layers, but you don't have to do them all at once. Start with time. If you're new here and you've been curious about sourdough, or you've tried before and it didn't work out, I made something for you. It's a free guide called the Beginner Sourdough Roadmap. It's not a course, It's not an email funnel. It's a simple, clear preparation guide that answers the questions most beginners have before they ever mix their first dough. Where to get a starter, what you actually need, and why that last loaf might not have risen. The link is in the description. Just grab it, download it, and read it before your next bake. And if you want to actually bake with me with step-by-step lessons, weekly Zoom calls, and a community of real home bakers, all using the same simple method, that's inside the Bread and Butter Way. You can find everything at thebreadandbutterway.com. All right, we'll see you soon. Happy baking.